Hey, welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Justin Stoddart. I've got Robby T back today because the reality is the fortune is in the follow-up, and that is the reason why most real estate agents have not yet found their fortune. This is a big enough and important enough topic that I've got Robby T back to announce an event that he's doing tomorrow, June 18th. And Robby's going to tell us all about it.
I love it.
But, Robby, first and foremost, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who's at home, sell over 650 homes a year, and then coaches, 20-some teams, dozens of teams?
Yeah, tons.
Who on average sell between 300 and 400 homes a year. This guy knows follow-up because he teaches it and does it all day long at a super high level. So good to have you back, Robby. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, brother. It's funny because you asked me, like, how do I view myself? And I'm just like this lead conversion nerd. And I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but I'm wearing a Star Wars schematic shirt. So I'm just being authentic, man.
I love it. This is a guy you want to learn from, right? This isn't a playboy. This isn't someone out looking for show. This is a guy here to do work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd be the guy hiding behind the curtain if I didn't really believe in having these conversations.
Hey, man, if the guy behind the curtain can help people sell that many homes, it is not a bad life.
Amen.
So, speaking of not a bad life, Robby and I, before we came live, he asked me how my Father's Day went, because those that are watching this live will know that Father's Day was yesterday. And I told him, Robby, I got a nap. It was 2 hours. Nobody bugged me. I got a few people bug me, but it was still pretty dang good. And so Robby then proceeded to tell me about a little life hack, a little productivity hack.
Yeah.
That, I'm going to use to have the signature question that I usually make everybody wait till the end of the episode. I'm not doing that today. We're going to bring it right up front, and I'm going to make you wait for the details on the lead conversion event. So Robby, tell us quickly what you've learned about brief naps to reset the brain.
Yeah. So as I said, I'm a total nerd, and I was reading a book by Dan Pink, and Dan is one of my favorite authors, and he wrote a book called When. And if you haven't read Dan Pink and you work in any form of sales and business, go buy all his books. To Sell is Human is great. Drive is great. And then When is really good. But one of the things he talks about in When is he talks about the ideal nap. And basically, long story short, the hack is that the ideal nap that you can take to reset your brain is something between about 15 and 26 minutes long. And basically, the science behind it is if you nap for less than 15 minutes, first off, you're probably not going to nap. And it's not going to do anything for you. But if you nap for longer than 26 minutes, what happens is your brain thinks it's going to sleep. And what happens is you actually come out of your nap feeling groggy. And I've done this, right? And instead of feeling refreshed, you're like, I just took a nap. Why am I more tired? It's because your brain thought it was bedtime. So the 15 to 26 minute nap is used by the military, and he talks about it in When. And it's a really great way. If you're feeling a little tired, go take 15, 20 minutes. And what happens is, for me, in my experience, and everyone's number kind of changes, you'll come out of it feeling really fresh, recharged, because your brain is feeling a little bit reset and a little bit rested. And it's kind of like meditating for your brain, except you're napping. But you're not going to come out of it groggy because you didn't sleep for longer than 26 minutes. And for some reason, it's 26 minutes. I forget the exact science behind that. But military uses it. Now it's like, if they're going to do it in those high stakes environments to refresh the brain, I'm going to do it in business.
You know what it reminds me of? I'm a tech genius, and here's how I solve all tech problems. I turn the computer off, turn it back on. And, most of the time it works. That's how genius I am.
Yeah, and I love that.
It's interesting what you just said. Makes me think that, like, our brains oftentimes they've got so much going on that it just tires us. We need to just power down,
100%,
power back up, and amazing life hack, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I think one of the coolest things is if you're feeling exhausted. Like, there's so many times where I'm feeling that, and I go take that little 15, 20-minute reset, and literally the way I see the world and the way I see problems is no longer as a problem. And oftentimes, just by resetting my brain and taking a moment, I see that problem completely differently, and now is an opportunity. So if you're feeling that exhaustion, you're feeling down, I'm telling you, I'm the king of the 15, 20-minute nap. I'll do it inside our office on the couch all the time. It's kind of fun.
I love it. You don't get any grief from anybody because they know you come out a beast.
Yeah, exactly.
Converting beast. They're like, dude, leave them alone.
Exactly.
So Robby and I are both very proud dads. We love fatherhood. And it's interesting how I can oftentimes see that in my kids, that they're like totally irrational, right? And I'm like, you just need to go to sleep. I promise this will not be a big deal tomorrow. And I think us as adults have a hard time realizing what you just said, which is like, man, problems become mountain size when our brains aren't properly rested. And that what you've just shared right there is super valuable for any of us that are high achievers that want to be uber productive and have a lot going on at any given time. So super valuable, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
Let's get into helping real estate agents find their fortune through follow-up.
I like it.
You and I both know that there's oftentimes an abundance of opportunities that people will, whether it be online or whether it be in person, people will bring something up. And oftentimes the follow through is not there due to maybe some limiting belief in their head where they actually purposely don't reach out to people and or they're disorganized. Talk to us a little bit about this event that you're doing tomorrow and how it's going to help people solve these major problems that's keeping real estate agents from having their fortune.
Sure. So I'll talk some numbers because I know people like to know numbers. In our world, we've literally made hundreds of thousands of phone calls collectively between me and my ISAs. By the way, I'm co-hosting this event with Jim, who is the best ISA in the country. For years straight now, he consistently brings in 150 plus deals. And even brought in 200 before he moved into a leadership role. And he's co-hosting it. So you're going to hear not just from me, but from Jim as well. And then Eric, the founder and OG of Hatch Realty, is going to be on there as well. So we got a lot of good people. But realistically, what we're bringing to the table is we wanted to create an event that was low cost, that created some interaction, but honestly just allowed us to share our secrets on how we have conversations with leads. So we're very clever at Hatch Realty and Hatch Coaching. So we called this Lead Conversion Live, Master the Conversation. So super creative. But the whole point is this. We're going to be sharing a lot of the insights that we've learned, not just through peeking out, learning, reading, but also through a lot of failures. And we're going to share those with you guys. We're going to talk about some of the biggest pitfalls to avoid on phone calls. I don't like the term scripts, but I'm going to minorly use it. We're going to be sharing some of the scripts that we use. And as I think I talked about last time I was on, the best script in the book is just tell me more, and getting the other person to talk. But that's such a abstract idea for people. We're going to be sharing a lot of pieces like that on how do you get someone to tell you more. And we're going to be sharing that between Jim, myself, and Eric.
Yeah, good stuff, man. So everything from, like you said, the scripts and the mentality. Why do you think it is, Robby, that people actually hesitate in following up when they know there's an opportunity there? Have you kind of gotten into the psychology of why people would do that?
I think people do two things wrong. I'm almost always saying two things. One is people don't follow up at all. That's one major problem. And then the second major problem is they actually follow up too often. That sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
But here's what it is there's a phrase out there that buyers are liars. And honestly, if you're going to learn one thing on our Lead Conversion Live tomorrow, it's not that buyers are liars. It's that you aren't asking good questions. So it's just little things like this. Justin, if you say that you're thinking about buying a place in a year, what too many real estate agents do is they take that surface level answer and they run with it. And now what you're going to do is this. You're going to follow up every month because you're like, you said a year, or I'm going to half it. You ever heard of that rule? If they say a year, cut it in half. All it is that you didn't ask the question on the phone with them to get more clarity. And I always ask this. I'll say, okay, Justin, maybe I'll ask, why are you thinking a year? And that alone will give you a lot of insight. But I take it even a step further, and we're going to go in depth in this tomorrow. It's something I call challenge their thinking. So I'll say, all right, Justin, so I know that you said you're thinking about potentially buying in a year, but let's say the ideal home came on the market in the next month or two. Is that something you'd consider purchasing, or would you pass on that opportunity?
Okay.
And oftentimes, right, just like that, there's a script, right? Just by asking a question like that, it brings a lot more clarity to the situation. And that person's going to divulge, no chance, I'm not buying, no chance at all. Or, I would absolutely consider that. And now what's happened is that person's no longer a 1-year buyer. They're a 2-month, they're a now buyer. Yeah. You just didn't ask the question to unearth it. And here's the thing. These people don't trust you. You're a random person traditionally, even if they're your good friend. Everybody knows 8 realtors, it seems like. And the reality is that you got to ask questions that allow people to process information. The simplest way I've described the roles in ISA is you're almost like a counselor. And what happens is just because somebody was thinking of some information in the beginning, it doesn't mean it's entirely accurate. And if you're doing your job well, the story actually changes because their thought processes are changing throughout the conversation. So if you're an agent, or if you're doing consultations with people, if you're working with any clients, this isn't just for ISAs, as I'm sure you can tell. This is for anyone that is having conversations with anybody in real estate. That way you help people make better decisions and get to the root of what they want to do. And you can see things a little more clear.
Interesting. Now, when you say this concept of following up too much, talk to us briefly about that, and then we're probably going to end so that people will actually go find this. What I don't want them to think is that all the answers are going to be here on the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. This is meant to really whet people's appetite, because the stuff that you're going to share isn't. It's going to be helpful, but what you're going to be sharing tomorrow is going to be wildly helpful. Like, it's going to be career changing. So let's answer that question, and then we'll wrap up. But when you say that people follow up too much, does it go back to the fact that, like, it's like someone who you just met and all of a sudden they're all over you? I mean, think of it like a friend. Like, you meet them once at a party and all of a sudden they want to do like everything with you. I mean, could you make like a similar comparison? You're like, wait a minute, I just met you, right? I don't know if we want to be best friends. Just because we met at a party and you were nice doesn't mean we're going to be best friends.
Right.
I mean, is it kind of that? Like, people just need their space to be able to trust you? And how do you not be forgotten yet not follow up too much, right? There's got to be a balance there, kind of a happy medium.
I think people follow up too much because they hear 1 year out. And in the past, they've been burnt so many times when they follow up 1 year out and they're like, I already bought a house. So what we do is we go like this. I'm going to call every month. I'm just going to reach out every month. And there's two problems with that. One, if you have a really good conversation and you get clarity on that follow-up, if you and I were to talk and I tell you I'm a year out, I'm not doing anything for a year, and you call me back in a month and ask if something, basically call me and have this conversation again, I'm going to be sitting there thinking, what was the point of our last conversation? Did you not hear what I said? So I think it violates trust, and it makes the person feel like you don't trust them. But the bigger thing is you can't scale. If you're calling everyone in your database back once a month, you can't scale it. The reality is you don't need to be calling every single lead back once a month. And what we've learned to do, and of course, there's some opportunities that we miss on. It's just, that's the game, right? It sometimes happens. But we use text to re-engage as basically our insurance policy, not just phone calls, because everyone's most valuable asset, I don't care if you're an ISA, an agent, rainmaker, it's your time. And you have to basically make bets. I used to play a lot of Texas Hold'em, right? And you got to be placing bets every single day. And the reality is that if you're making a bet on a lead that is actually a year or two out, and you're making that call and investing that energy, that's a loss of energy going to someone that could actually be calling in the next month. So it's just, in my brain, I'm always thinking of scalability. And when we're playing the lead conversion game, we're not, chasing 100, 200 leads. We're chasing thousands upon thousands of leads. We have about 1,400 to 1,500 incoming leads per month that are coming in, combination of organic, as well as paid leads, property inquiries. So it's a little bit of everything. But if you want to scale your follow-up, you got to get a little more targeted. And I don't need to call Justin back every month. If him and I have a really good conversation, and now I get to the depth of why he's waiting a year, now I can call back in 7-8 months. Use your intuition, use your judgment. I don't need to call you back 7 times, because those 7 calls could be going to someone that's actually a month out. So when I say following up too much, that's probably what I'm getting at.
Well, it's super powerful what you've said, because going back to the example that you said, let's say, for example, to the role play that we started, where, you say, are you interested in moving? And I say, not for a year. Well, people be like, great, I'll follow up in a year, or I'll follow up every month and try and convince you otherwise. Whereas you ask the question, which is, tell me more, tell me why. Let's say, my last child is graduating high school. And so once graduation is done, at that point, I really enjoyed, her senior year. At that point, we're really going to be able to start to look. Right now, Like there's a real reason why.
Yes.
But if you ask the question, what if the perfect home came along between now and then? And I said, I get that, like, we have a pretty unique flavor of what we're looking for in a unique home. If the right thing came along, let's say 4 months before, we'd be interested. Now, all of a sudden, right, your conversations with me can start to be around, like, what is that perfect, like, what is that unique flavor? What is it that you're looking for? And when you interact with me, it's relevant. And I think what a lot of lead generation follow-up systems do is that they're one size fits all, right? It's super vanilla. And it's like, are you looking to buy, as opposed to what you said, which is the more data you can gather about this person, every time you connect with them, the more relevant you can be. I find that in my own role, in my own world, that if I show up like vanilla, people don't give me the time of day. Whereas if I can pinpoint and know something about them and show up taking care of that thing that they're concerned about, or that opportunity that they want to take advantage of, now they want me to be a part of their world because they believe that I can get them to where they want to go, as opposed to like, get this guy out of here. I already answered this question. Obviously didn't listen. Why would I want to work with somebody that doesn't listen, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest fear I have for so many people in this ballgame. And it's why we created the event tomorrow. Is I firmly believe the best lead generators, lead converters, ISAs, agents, and if you don't have an ISA, you are the ISA. Yeah. The reality is simply this, is that you're probably doing way too much talking and too little listening. And for some reason, I just go by the 80-20 rule. And we should be doing 20% of the talking and 80% of the listening. And the funny part is that 20% of talking is almost all exclusively rephrasing, reflecting, and digging deeper into their answers. And it's literally just it's using Stephen Covey's ideas and taking what somebody's saying, rephrasing it back. And so somebody says, I think I want to get a bigger home. I'd say, all right, Justin, so I know you're saying you want a bigger home. Give me some more insight into that. And it's when I do that, I remind you of you. And nobody likes anybody else more than themselves. And people will talk of all different personalities. I think one of the cool things we're going to start with tomorrow is mirroring and matching. Because I say the best lead converters are chameleons. And what I've taught people to do is when you're talking to a high D, you've got to stand up and take up more space. Be a gorilla, yep. Because a lion will eat a sheep alive. But the other piece is this, that sheep are scared to death of lions. And we're going to talk about that in depth. We're going to be talking about mirroring and matching. That way people can see some easy, simple ways to better mirror and match people. That way they don't scare people is really the big thing. So there's a lot of little insights. It's going to be 3 hours. And I promise, I've been calling it the Robby T guarantee. I don't know, it kind of sounds cool. If you sign up for it, you participate. It's basically 3 hours of direct content and then an hour of Q&A, as long as we have enough questions, which I think we will. I've been guaranteeing, I guarantee it'll be worth $200. It's $200, and I would dare say it's probably the best $200 that you spend for sure this quarter, but I think for the year.
Man, that's exciting stuff, man. Totally affordable for, the fact that people are going to walk out with the ability to close not just one leads, but leads for the rest of their career, which are obviously highly valuable in the real estate industry. So great stuff, man. I'm going to put up here on the screen where people can go to learn more about this. Cool. At least the coaching company that Robby is a big part of, hatchcoaching.com. And then in the links, we're going to put an actual link to go sign up for this. And again, if you feel like your follow-up game needs some help, and I would say all of our follow-up games need help, this would be a great event to tie into. I've got huge confidence in Robby. His resume is unmatched in this industry as far as helping people follow up. And he's got a great heart as well. He's really about helping agents succeed at really high levels and helping them serve the customer at a high level. So he's the guy you want to learn from. So Robby, thanks again for coming on the show today. Been a total pleasure, man. Always enjoy our time together. You're the kind of guy that always delivers and brings great energy at the same time. So I appreciate you, man. Thanks, brother. Appreciate the opportunity to share some of this knowledge. Of course. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this episode. One request: if this has been valuable, please let us know. Put a comment down and share it with somebody else. And my last request is go think bigger. Your life and impact will benefit as a result. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you next time.